Hello and good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's Wisdom Wellness session. We have had a series of these over a period of time. I'll start today's session with an acknowledgement of country. I wish to acknowledge the traditional elders of the land on which we all come together today. I'm coming to you from Quandamooka country in southeast Queensland. And I'd like to acknowledge elders, both past, present, and emerging. Welcome to this session that's going to be led by Joanne Brooks, one of our amazing WNA ambassadors. Really a great opportunity for you to, and it's all about diving into the wisdom well and taking what you need to take out of that well. Joanne is a very kind and generous sharer of her knowledge and will be leading today's discussion. We have Beck on with us who'll be looking at the chat. So if you want to at any stage, put in questions into the chat. Beck's also just shared with you, if you haven't downloaded it already, the workbook that goes with this session. So you can download the workbook and either print it out or keep it and store it and use it as a reference guide for future. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Joanne and welcome to you all.
Oh, thanks. That's lovely. And good to see some familiar faces. Thank you, ladies, for turning up. I'm just going to start sharing my screen if you don't mind. Alrighty. Wisdom Well, as Cheryl shared. So a series of webinars, events, masterclasses, whatever you'd like to call it. Just as a heads up as though, for anybody who's missed the previous ones, they're available in the portal in our membership area. Is that right, Cheryl? I'm pretty sure, as well as the tools.
Yes, and we're also happy to email them out. If someone wants to request them, we can send them out to you directly.
Happy days. So, so there's been a series. We started in January all the way through. So good God, we are in June already, halfway through the year. Happy days. So today we are talking about the art of self-advocacy. So, and I'm not just talking about reclaiming presence, not just on social media or events, but inside ourselves. This is about turning up for your vision, your values, your circle, as I would say it. And visibility is not about ego, it's leadership, etc. It's about how do you speak up, stand up, step up and stand out with authenticity. So my question to you is, what if self-advocacy is one of the skills that changes everything, and if you've been waiting too long to claim it? Now, there's a lovely lady here called Cassandra who is very good at this, being on social media with these amazing earrings that you you make. I think maybe you could teach us a thing or two as well. So I'm very pleased that you're here.
Oh, thank you.
So my question is, where in your business or life are you waiting for permission? So these are for the people who may be being a little bit shy. And what do you do when you need to turn up and turn on the mic? I speak to many women in business who this is something that they feel a little bit cautious of. You could say intimidated. You could say nervous. I'd be curious to know that. And please pop it in the chat as you go. So how do I know some of this stuff? So 25 years as an entrepreneur, I understand the layers of resistance that can hold women back, whether it's imposter syndrome. Oh, yeah, put my hand up. Limiting beliefs, I've had that. Fear of visibility, had that. Simply being new to business, and all these barriers are real in our head, right? But the good thing is they don't have to be permanent. It's about learning to speak up, step up. And it's not, and let me be really clear, this is not just about your business, it's about you as well. And that is a skill that changes everything, getting really comfortable with this. So, as I said, it's not about just reclaiming presence on social media. It's turning up for your vision and your values. So one of the things I would ask you is, as we've covered in some previous Wisdom Wells, is that we're looked at in those ones. What is your vision? Have you defined it? Have you articulate it? Do you share it with people? What are your values? Are they on your website? I know Women's Network Australia have their values loud and proud there, and they speak about it constantly. It's on my website. So again, this is not about ego, because I've had some people say, oh, if I get on the screen and talk about me, is it an ego thing? Well, I'm going to say absolutely not. So let's have a look at what it would look like, but let's first look at some statistics. 78% of women leaders reported struggling with imposter syndrome. I don't think that would be anything that would be surprised by. Certainly something that I determined to change. 64% of through a 23 LinkedIn survey, it's a little bit old, female business owners felt uncomfortable promoting themselves or their business on professional platforms. Super interesting. So this is not an individual thing. It's about a collective challenge we all need to work on shifting. So pretty confronting percentages here. So the good thing is if you're here because if you've ever been held from speaking up, if you need to know how to be more visible, if you struggle to confidently advocate your worth, or if you want to build a business that stands on its own, this is for you. This is not for you if you're looking for a quick fix marketing hack. That's not me. If you believe you need to just work harder, that's not true. If you're unwilling to be uncomfortable, we all have to get comfortable with that, or just accept it. It doesn't mean we have to be comfortable with it, right? And you believe self-advocacy is selfish or boastful. It's not any of those things. So if that was you, I would ask you to be patient and watch. And let's see where it goes. So the good news is you're in the right place. Happy days. Yay. You're in a good place to start. So why are we having this conversation? I believe too many brilliant women stay unseen and unheard. Like I come across many, many women who choose to do the, what is it called? Where you're not prepared to show your face. There's a particular term for it. Maybe one of you can remember that. And I reckon, Beck, you would know this. There's a particular phrase for it, but it's just gone straight out of my brain. What I know is your circle, your business, your clients will only benefit from when they see you and hear you. I was listening to a woman this morning she was in LA, and she was very proud about sharing her story. She's a Jewish lady who got married at 21 by an arranged marriage with somebody who was not probably the best partner for her. And at 50, she realized that she had been held back. She had not been standing up. And the amazing thing, and I think this has happened over about 10 years, she just started sketching women's gowns, ball gowns, etc. And in about 10 years, she is now in all the big fashion shows. She's in all the big fashion magazines because she is talking her story about that lifetime in her life, how hard it was, how difficult it was, and the transition that she took. And I just celebrate her, the fact that she's willing to share that story, because she said it took her about 10 years to get comfortable in sharing that story. So I think for all of us, we should share our story. I talk about it all the time, probably sometimes too much for a lot of people, but there's a lot of people out there who haven't heard my story and why I do what I do. So one of the things that I know is if you are waiting to feel ready, stop. You're ready now, right? Because ready will never come. It's like this thing where you're waiting for perfection. Well, that doesn't exist. I think 80% is perfect. Be happy with 80%. And again, as I said, self-advocacy is not leadership, is leadership. It's not ego. So for me, like I can't tell you how many women I've spoken to over the years. And I remember one particularly who started this amazing business where she was creating potions with essential oils because it was something she was passionate about. And I said to her, so how did your business start? And she said, well, I had this medical problem a number of years ago and Western medicine wasn't solving it. So with all the Googling, I couldn't find a solution. So I decided to create a business out of it. I went, that is amazing. How many people have you told that story about? She said, none. I said, and why would you do that? Well, that's egotistical, isn't it? Am I just boasting and showing off? I went, oh my gosh, no. Think about what you were doing back then when you were looking for the answer, for the solution. You totally get what these people are getting frustrated with, changing their lives because they can't find a medical solution to this problem that they've got. And you've got the problem. And if you know exactly what they're thinking, you can speak directly to that and you should be talking about it. I, to this day, don't know that she has, but it continues to surprise me that people who started, because we all start a business for a reason. We all start a business because we've either got a talent, we see an opportunity, or we're trying to fill a gap. So you should always talk about why you have landed where you are, because I think particularly now, when you look at the artificial intelligence stuff that's going on, I was watching a LinkedIn post this morning. It was a video, and I know this young lady, and I'm sure it was artificial intelligence created, and it was her walking through a crowd delivering a speech. And I looked and I went, I know that's not you. That is actually AI, complete AI generated. And I went, it has its place. But I looked and I went, why couldn't we get a video of her doing that, actually doing that? And I also had the instance where this just blew my brain. I was on LinkedIn. Someone was chatting with me, started the conversation. We went into private messaging, and he started creating a conversation with me, and I was responding. And I asked this person a question, and I got the exact same answer from the piece above me. And I went, actually, you haven't answered my question. Can you please answer exactly the same? Did it 3 times, and I went, oh, bloody hell, this is a bot. What was scary was he was selling the platform that was doing that bot. And I went, well, clearly that's not working. Clearly that's not going to work for me, because you are not listening to my question. And so this might sound like I've gone off on a tangent, but this is what I'm talking about. It's about you turning up and being willing to be yourself and to respond. And, people might say to me, but, oh my God, Joanne, I don't have time. There's a gazillion things. Well, we can do a whole other masterclass on automation and all the other things that you could do to build a team. So this is why I'm so passionate about it, because getting in front of people and being you're going to stand out, because everybody else is using AI. Everybody is using AI to create images, to create videos, to do the bots, to do the chats. But if you can find the way to create the space to be you in front of everybody, you're going to stand out big time. Big, big, big time. A lot of you know who I am. 25 years as an entrepreneur. I've done a lot of things. I've built multiple businesses. I have had imposter syndrome and perfectionism and self-doubt been me many, many, many times, and every now and then it still pops up. So I don't think I'm telling you anything new for those who know me. This is me. I absolutely have issues, and sometimes I look at my videos and go, oh, I really don't like how I look, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what I think. It's what my audience is receiving, right? And so we've got to get comfortable with that. There is no doubt about it. So I'm going to help you with 5 reasons women hesitate to self-advocate. Fear of being judged, imposter syndrome, we've covered that. Lack of clarity on what to say, cultural or internalized messaging to stay small, and lack of representation or mentorship. So, I know these barriers are absolutely real, and I would suspect that the ladies who are on this call, they would go, yeah, I resonate with 1 or 2 of those already. But I think the fact that we recognize them, we notice them, and when we name them, we can then take power over them. So let's explore what it might look like, because what I know is self-advocacy starts with internal permission. We need to give ourselves permission to speak up. We don't need to be loud, we just need to be clear. And so you can start in small ways. Your message matters, so start small and just speak. So I've got some few ideas of what you might do to just tip your toes into it. So speak to yourself, be clear about on what you believe, and what you want to say and why it matters. In writing, in a journal, out loud, in a safe space, talk to the dogs, talk to the horse, talk to the bird, talk out loud, talk to an empty room, doesn't matter. Just start speaking it out loud. I'm actually going through a 90-day sales challenge at the moment with somebody. We're 26 days in. One of the things that this person has said to me is, I don't care who you say your sales pitch to, just say it out loud. Say it to the dog, say it to the wall, say it to yourself, speak it out loud, get comfortable in saying it. So this resonates with this for me, right? So even if nobody is listening to you, get comfortable talking about what you do and why you do it. And you can start small. Like, we can all go into LinkedIn and comment. And please don't click like and say, that's lovely. This really resonates. I love that. Please don't do that, because you're not doing yourself any service. Put some genuine thoughts and comments into LinkedIn or wherever you want to do it. At a local networking event, just speak quietly. What do? Share with them why you started your business. Every time you use your voice, the more you practice it, the stronger and you feel more comfortable with it. Definitely focus on authenticity. You don't need to be loud, as I said, and it doesn't have to be perfect. You just need to be authentic and clear about and that it connects with you, that it feels right to you. So that's why the first piece, speak to yourself. You'll get a sense of, oh, that feels right. That feels really good. And then reframe it. So when you speak up, you're helping someone who needs what you offer. So maybe by not speaking up, you're actually doing the public a disservice because they don't know what you do. Think about who needs you to be visible. That shifts their fear into purpose. So what could that look like for you? So small incremental steps could be what you might consider to get visible out there for you. And it could be, like, you could also, we all have these marvelous devices in our hands, right? So if you don't want to do a video, do an audio. We all have these things that do an audio. You can do an audio message. So use your voice, and then when you feel comfortable with it, use your phone to video you. Now, there's an app on my phone that I use pretty much every other day, and it's free. It's called Teleprompter. It helps me teleprompt, and I'll pop it in the link for you. I'll find it on my app. It's literally called Teleprompter. I think I shared it in another Wisdom World the other day. What I love about it is, and this is a Mac thing, I can create what I want to say as a script on my phone. I can copy it on my desktop, and when I open Teleprompter and hit paste, it puts it into my teleprompter. But I've had a lot of people say to me, oh, Joanne, you sound like you don't look like you're reading it. The beauty of a teleprompter is that you can craft your words in a Word document, and then you can put it in here with the video on, and you're looking directly at your phone, and the words are going up in front of your face, right? So, and it saves a script on you, so you can reuse it. Like, it's just a brilliant way to get your video that sounds like you. And my best friend is ChatGPT. Absolutely is ChatGPT. So one of the things that I do when I'm doing my videos is I'll open a Word document, and this works in a Google Doc or a Word document. There's this lovely little thing called a dictate button. I don't know if any of you have noticed that. It's been there forever. So I turn on dictate and I just start talking to it. Getting words out of here to my fingers to a keyboard, I tend to lose a bit of stuff. So I just dictate it and just start talking about what I want to say, pick it up, pop it into chat and say, please use my tone of voice, my tone, my words, my language, and tidy it up for a video script. Copy, paste into teleprompter, job done, about 5 minutes. But you could start by an audio message if you don't want to do it video, because we all have voice messages, voice memos and stuff on our phones. A great way just to dip your toes in it a little bit. So one of the things we've got to get comfortable with is taking imperfect action, because visibility is our choice. It is our choice to be prepared to stand out. So from hiding to leading. And leadership doesn't come when you feel ready. It comes when you start, even with shaky hands and a trembling voice. So let me be clear here. When I talk about leadership, you might say, well, I don't have a team. I don't have a team. But leadership starts from within, leading yourself, right? Leading yourself and being prepared that it's okay not to be perfect. Can't tell you how many posts I've put out there, whether it's using Canva or a typed post, and I go, that's spelled wrong. That's not what I meant to say. And I have to force myself not to change it because Little Miss Perfection Joanne wants to go in and fix it. But guess what? It makes me real. It's who I am. I never did say I passed English. I did pass English, but it was a struggle. And it was a long time ago. So it's okay to be imperfect, because guess what? Most people probably won't notice it. That's a good thing. And 2, they will absolutely forgive you. So let's have a look at what it might take to step it up a bit. Recognize the chance, look at the opportunities to increase your visibility. How about you volunteer in an event? Maybe there's an event that Women's Network have got on and, oh, can I help? Can I sit at the table and take the names? That's getting yourself out there, getting you comfortable with it. Post a really short video. Just told you how to do that. One of the things that you can do and should be able to do really confidently is share your expertise. Like, I reckon if we asked Cassandra to do a webinar on how to make earrings, she would be all over it like a flash. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Ask Cheryl to talk about networking all over it, right? So find the thing that you're definitely passionate about, the things that you love, the things that you're a genius at, and just share a little bit of that. That can be a great way. Organize a small event. How about a bunch of people from Women's Network Australia? How about we all go to a coffee shop and there's just 4 or 5 of us? Let's get together and let's start talking. Let's opening it up. Start a podcast series or go get yourself on one. If anybody needs some podcast people, let me know. I've got loads of people around the world who are always looking for guests. Happy to do that. Or you could write a post on LinkedIn that's authentically you. So it doesn't, what I like about LinkedIn, and these work incredibly well when you are absolutely raw in what you say on LinkedIn. It absolutely loves you. If I can give you an example, a few weeks ago, I posted a LinkedIn post, the fact that I had completed my MBA and the story behind that. And that was on the spur of the moment. Normally, they're very scheduled. I know what I'm going to do each weekday because I don't want to stuff up the algorithm. But I just found out that I'd passed and I was going to get my certificate. Yay. And I was feeling a little bit excited and a little bit emotional about it. And I just opened Word and I started talking and I popped it into chat and I threw it onto LinkedIn. There was no image, no nothing. It was just a raw post. And I would normally get about 200-ish or more impressions, 3,000, like that. Right? So if you have a moment and this thing you go, oh man, I really think I need to speak about, bloody do it. Because it just, and from then on, the impressions on LinkedIn have been steadily going up and up and up. So this is about me giving you permission to talk about the stuff that's happening in your life, right? Please do it because you will be amazed at how many people want to know about that stuff. And I was in a LinkedIn meeting this morning and somebody had said, oh, I'm a bit nervous about doing that because I might get some pushback that it's a professional platform and I shouldn't share my story. Excuse your French, I call bullshit on that. Go do it. Go share your story. That's really important. Everybody needs to know it. Practice sharing ideas. Go grab some people in your circle. We've got some amazing members here on Women's Network. There's a Facebook group. You can go out and say, hey, who wants to catch up for a virtual coffee? I want to share some ideas. I just want to brainstorm it. Why not? Ask questions in a webinar. You have permission to do that today. Speak at a networking group and record a voice memo. So there are a bunch of all the different things that you might like to just dabble at, improve, build, grow. And what can you do each day that's a little bit, just stepping it up, going up those steps a little bit more, a little bit more. Just some ideas. What happened here? There we go. So stand out because you are the brand for now. Now, I do put in brackets for now. When I talk to women in business about their business, one of the things I will always ask them, why did you start? Get a whole bunch of, reasons and aspirational things. My second question is always, how are you going to exit? Because today you are the business. You are the business that you need to shine, you need to be out there, but we also need to work towards how do we extract ourselves out so it still keeps the culture, the vibe, the values, and all those sort of things in business. That's a whole other masterclass. But people want to do business with you, not the business. So this is why it's so important for you to stand out. And people are buying trust. They're not just buying a product or service. They trust. That trust comes when they see you and when they hear you. So let's have a look at a few more ideas here when it comes to brand. So you must show your brand, your face online. You must put your face out there. I see a lot of people are using those fun things that you can do in chat and get your avatar created. The Barbie box thing seemed to go off the charts a little while ago. All that sort of stuff. And they're fun and they're a bit of fun stuff. But I do encourage you to get yourself face online. Now, we have got some amazing people in this network who are photographers who will do really cost-effective ways of getting your photos done. But you know what? These little devices do a fabulous job of videos and of photos. Go put it on timer, go and stand in a great spot and get it to take photos of you. Please don't use the blurry video photos of you on LinkedIn that I see, or don't even put a video or photo up at all. Please make sure that you are visible. This is your calling card. Share your personal story, attend events visibly. One of the things that I did when I was working on finishing my MBA was this research project. One of the things that I wanted to research was, why do women in business join networking groups and sit back quietly? It was super interesting that, because I see it a lot. A lot of women belong to a number of networking organizations, this one included, and I often see people who don't participate, don't stand up, don't put their hand up and make comments, etc. It was super interesting that a number of these women said to me that they join because they want to grow up to be like me, like Cheryl, or like somebody else. And I went, this is super interesting. But I said to them, so what would it take for you to give yourself permission to speak up and to contribute? And a lot of it's the imposter syndrome, the thought of going, oh, I'm going to ask a silly question or whatever. But the way I look at it, all these women that belong to these networks have an amazing skill set. They have a genius. They have an ability that I don't have, that Cheryl doesn't have, that Cassandra doesn't have, that Marion doesn't have, that we all have something to contribute that's unique. So why wouldn't you give yourself permission to stand up? So even if it's when we first do these things and we join networking groups, even if you put a question in chat and say, I'd like to know about this, or this is my viewpoint on this, start by doing it in the chat. And then when you get brave, pop your hand up and say, I have this question, I have this contribution to make. Because for now, while your business is growing, your brand is you. It is you, and you don't have a choice of that particularly for ladies who are fairly new in their business, or you were the only person delivering that service. You are that person. But I would ask you to consider, what do I need to do? And this is a whole other webinar. What do I need to do to step back, but it still holds the culture of me, my principles, my ethos, my why, all those sort of things. How do I step out from that so that when the time comes for me to exit, whatever way that is, somebody's prepared to buy it, because they won't buy it if you're the only person delivering it or multiplying it, etc. Because what I know is your voice is your value, so please don't hide it. So for me, who are you turning up for? Are you turning up for yourself, your clients, your family, your team, your community? I'd like to say it's for everybody, for all of them. This is for you to consider, who am I turning up and who am I hiding from? Am I hiding from them? So you need to design your business to scale beyond your presence, as I mentioned before. Currently, your brand, that's you. It's connected to your values and your systems. That gives you scalability. But the goal is that the business carries your voice, but not your exhaustion. It carries you, but enables to grow whilst you step yourself out of it. Can be hard. I thought I'd share a bit more about networking. The fear of networking is real. I'd rather stick a rusty pin in my eye. I'd like to share this story. This is a young lady. Her post on LinkedIn was that I'd rather stick a rusty pin in my eye than go to networking. And it was fascinating. This is a lady who has ADHD. She finds, and autism, she finds loud, bright, all the lights, all that stuff really hard. And so she said she will go to networking events, but it'll be through a screen. She will absolutely not turn up. And I looked at it and went, actually, you know what? For me to go to a networking event where I don't know anybody, I'd rather sit back and watch and just look at them all. And I said, actually, on self-reflection, I agree. It's hard. It's hard. I find what's the word? The little chatter that means nothing, that somebody just wants to tell me what they do and shove their card at me. I don't like that in networking at all. I do not like that. I want to have a genuine conversation with somebody. And sadly, I think over the years, networking, the face-to-face networking, whilst lovely, I feel that over the years, particularly as women, we have been exposed to that type of behavior in networking, and it's put us off. What I love is I now have a face-to-face networking event on the Gold Coast once a month, and I actually really love it because it's small, it's intimate, there's not many women coming, which I'm cool with, but it enables me to have really solid conversations and build a better relationship with these people who are coming. So I think there's a whole other thing that we can do just on networking, but I thought I would just share some of these things. So where are you hiding to show up for tomorrow? So the networking piece was a really interesting conversation that I had with this lady who had ADHD and autism and, you know, stick a rusty pin in her eye. And I suspect some of us feel the same, but we just not necessarily thought about it very much. So what would it look like for you to show up tomorrow? So I want you to really take some time to think about what you've seen here today, take a small action, show up for yourself, show up for your circle. And your circle are the people that are important to you, your clients, your suppliers, your family, and show up for your vision. And I would say the last thing that I would say to you, how many people know your vision for your business? Have you told your family? Have you told your clients? Have you told your suppliers? Have you told your staff? That's one thing that I talk about constantly. And it was one thing that I know for me when I was building a very large business. I was knocking on the doors of my largest competitors. I was this tiny little person with a great knocking on the door of a large organization. And they literally, I know they were going through their head, what the hell are you doing here talking to me? I said, well, this is what I want to do. And here's my one-page business plan. And this is where my business is going. I know exactly where my business is going. And I know that piece, sharing where I was going to take my business, helped me to get in the door. It also helped me to employ the right people, because if that vision disconnected with them, if it didn't align with their values, I was perfectly okay with that. But I was very clear, even in recruiting for staff, for suppliers, for agents, all these people, everybody knew where my business was going to go and where I wanted it to go. And if it didn't align with them, that's perfectly cool. Not everybody wants to work for you. Not everybody wants to partner with you or any of those sort of things. So whilst we've been talking a lot about you getting in front of the screen, I want you to start thinking about, how do I speak out loud about where my business is going? Because that's the end point you need to get to. Because people will be inspired by it. People will want, you'll become a business that people want to work for. And that's a great position to be in when you get to that point, because you can then take your staff on that journey with you. Not kicking and screaming. It's not a vision statement sitting on a wall that we see in all these corporates that you ask one of the staff members in a major bank, what does that mission mean to you in that? Oh, I don't even know what it says. This is super important for you as you are building teams. This is so important for you to do that. And your visibility, you have to turn up for your people. You have to turn up for your staff, whether they're contractors, outsourcers, full-time, part-time, casual, contract, doesn't matter. You have to show up for them because you are the leader of this business. So that's that. I'm just going to tell you what's happening next week. We are talking about the resilience blueprint, which is very exciting. That's the topic for next month.
The resilience, what, Joe? What was that? Resilience?
The resilience blueprint.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, sorry. The color. I look at that now and go, yeah, it's a bit hard to read, isn't it? See, it's not perfect. Happy day. Yeah, put your glasses on, Cassandra. Anybody who's on the Gold Coast, I would love for you to join me. It's not this Tuesday, I'm sorry. This next month's July is not on. My apologies, I'm not available, but it will kick off again in August. But anybody who's on the Gold Coast, you are most welcome to come. It's lots of fun. It's nice and quiet and intimate. Anybody who wants to grab some time with me, please scan that little baby and you can go find me and we can have a chat about any aspect of what we've just doing here, because what I hope that it sparked a bubble for you, but don't leave this and do nothing. You've got a little worksheet to put some thoughts down. What I do encourage you to do is, what action are you going to take? And it would be awesome if you shared it in the Facebook group of what action you have taken. That would be pretty neat. And that's all the sharing of slides that I need to do today.
Thank you, Joanne. Awesome as always. Couple of things from the chat. Yes, could you please share the teleprompter app
Oh, yes.
you were speaking about?
Yes.
Sounds excellent and something I'm sure that
So
we
helpful.
will share in our toolbox. So if you get a chance to do that, that would be great. And then I'm just going to invite everyone. We've had a few little discussions in the chat box, but you might like to jump on and share your thoughts. I know, Cassandra, you made a couple of comments. One was firstly about your website, and I made some suggestions in there about websites. And a bit like Joanne said, one of the reasons that people hold back from creating their website, I hear that so often, I'm still creating my website, is they want it to be amazing and perfect. and like those amazing websites they've seen. So they spend so much time and money sometimes on working on their website that it actually never happens. It doesn't actually appear. And I know, one lady who worked on hers for over 2 years. And so that's 2 years of being
Lost
in the wilderness.
opportunities.
Lost
Yeah.
opportunities. Websites aren't static. As I said, they literally are like your shop front window. And it should be something that changes with the seasons, with your moods, with your innovations, with your creativity. Your website should always be a work in progress, should never be a static thing. So how you bring yourself and your authenticity to your website is a really important thing. But handing over to others for questions, comments, insights, just come off mute and dive in.
Yeah.
Hi, Joanne. That was amazing.
Oh,
And,
thanks, Annette.
what I loved about it is if there's ever a time for us as women to step up into our absolute most beautiful us, now. Do you know what I mean? It's like it is just such like never before. People are really, they're crying out. My thing at the moment, I had a masterclass a couple of weeks ago, and in that masterclass, a lot of the feedback that I got was creating a space where people could just show up and feel safe, heard, seen, validated. And also not just that, so that you're sort of stuck in that either, but a space that allows you to just express where you're at and moving forward and having options, and really starting to see possibility.
Yeah.
And part of the conversation that came out of that as well was all around, and my recent, if anyone's following me on LinkedIn, you'll see my theme for this next 4 to 6 weeks is actually around feminine leadership and feminine energy, because if there's anything like never before, when we look out into the world, we can do one or two things. We can go, the world's crazy and I'm just going to hide myself. Or we're going to say the world is crazy and it needs more feminine leadership and it needs more feminine energy.
And what an opportunity.
And what an amazing opportunity. So and at the absolute start of it is self-leadership and self-advocacy.
Exactly.
And the resilience, obviously, next month will build on that. But for me, the heart of this message is so beautiful for this time, because when we can really change our thinking, build some emotional resilience, and start to lead ourselves and come and embrace the feminine energy in us, we're unstoppable. We really
I agree.
unstoppable.
I agree.
So this was for me, it was just very powerful. It's very timely. And I just think it is. I love that you also threw the challenge down and said, who are you not to do this? Like, let's just be real, right?
How dare you?
Not something.
How dare you?
Do it, right?
Yes.
Just do it. And if you need help to do it, I am a coach. I have a business coach. I'm a coach and I'm coached.
Do you know how unusual that is, Annette? Let me just share really briefly. As part of my research project that I did for my MBA, I had 2 questions. One was about the networking. Why do people sit back? Secondly, why do women not secure a coach until the shit hits the fan? Excuse the French, right? And they also don't find the right coach, because there's a coach for every micro moment in your business. Everyone. So the research revealed that we've had a tidal wave of coaches land in the space, COVID, various reasons, and a majority of coaches don't have a coach. I shared a new platform that I created beginning on the 1st of June, which is Navigate Circle, which is an online platform subscription, bucket loads of resources and tools for a very low cost entry point. I put it to my Facebook connections, and one of them was a coach, and she came back. I see her as a marketing coach. One of them came back to me. She said, I don't need that, Joanne. I'm a coach. And I went, wow, that is so interesting.
And do you want to know what I've learned too, and why I have a business? One of the powerful reasons I have a business coach, my business will only grow to the degree I do. So I
Absolutely.
learned that when I am, if there's something that if I'm hitting a wall, if I'm feeling stuck in any way, shape, or form, 1000%, it's internal. And when I deal with what that is internally, that barrier is gone. And I go, perfectionism was one. It paralyzed me in my business. I'm a reformed perfectionist now. I still wear it as a badge of honor. Once I got that dealt with, that part of my business, I've just been leaps and bounds, leaps and bounds, leaps and bounds.
Wonderful. I see a question, provide some advice on self-advocacy within a large organization. Thank you, Annette. That was awesome. And how to speak up when you're not the boss. This is super, super interesting. I had a conversation with a lady probably last year. She was doing one of the Dessert MBAs, and she had been passed over for a number of promotions internally by people that she said, I know that they don't have the skills that I do. And I said, so what was stopping you? What ego, imposter syndrome, a list of all the things you need to have. And I probably had 7, but the guy who got it probably only had 3 ticked, as often is the case. And I said to her, so how many people are doing the MBA with Dessert like you are? Well, no one. What are you learning? Just for context for the ladies who don't know, you get to work on your business. You get to listen to world leaders, Desmond Tutu, Goldie Hawn, these amazing world leaders as part of the course. And I said, do you think your MBA program that you're now involved in, you're doing some massive projects on your role and you're implementing the learnings into your role, do you think your boss might know about that? No. Right. Do you think if you actually had a meeting with him and said, this is what I'm learning and this is what I'm implementing in the business to make my role better for you, for this business, do you think maybe you might have got that job? Yeah, probably. So what's stopping you? So the first thing, the self-advocacy, give yourself permission to do that. I remember I learned this lesson a long time ago when I was 18, just mindful of time. At 18, I wasn't allowed to go to university. My father made me ring every bank until I got a job. For the person who was the shyest person in the street, I got a job in 2 weeks. And the boss said to me, you didn't get the best score on the bank exam, but you rang me every day. That was an unconscious lesson that I learned through my entire corporate career, to the point that if I wanted a new job or a pay rise, I wrote a business case. I said, this is what I've done, this is what I'm going to do, and this is what I want. And that was really unusual for somebody, like a little out of female, and I didn't always get precisely what I wanted, but I was prepared to negotiate it. So I think the first thing, advice on self-advocacy in a large organization, give yourself permission. Recognize the worth and the value that you bring to this business. And even if it's for tendering, even if it's for, it doesn't even have to be in corporate. It could be that I want to go for that tender or that opportunity with a large organization. Oh, maybe I'm not good enough. Get in front of somebody out of Women's Network Australia, have a conversation, go, this is what I'm thinking about. Where do you think, how can I improve that? And just give yourself permission to try. What's the worst they can say? No, or not yet, or maybe it's like this. And accept that it's not personal. Often the no's are not personal, just like in sales. Hard to do that for somebody like me. When somebody says no to my services, it hurts my heart. But anyway. Tell us about knockbacks and what happens when you speak out, but when you get knocked back. Yes, I've had that so many times. I've stood in front of a bunch of fellas teaching them how to do something, and they'd say to me, what do you know, girlie? Pretty horrible, right? Cassandra, it was a number of years ago. I'd hate to think that it's now, but it was about 20 years ago. What do you know, girlie? And so the thing that did save me and give me the confidence was I was teaching guys how to do commercial lending. They were home loan writers, so they knew nothing about how to write finance for a business. So I always came prepared with all these examples, of which there was a pile of paper this fat. So I just said, okay, well, cool. If you know how to do this, great, you can leave. If you don't, shut up, sit down and listen. So it was about knowing the value you bring. And as I said, knockbacks are not necessarily a no to you. And maybe you need to reframe it. Well, what does it look like if it looked different? Have that conversation with, well, you've said no now, but what does it need to look like? What do you need that I can help and I can support? So start the conversation, not step back. Until you ask the question, is always a no, but when you ask, it's a 50-50 shot. Exactly, Annette, exactly. What's the worst they can say is no or not yet. So I feel that we are 1 minute out, but thank you, ladies. That was awesome. I appreciate your time.
Can I just quickly ask Joanne before you go,
Yes.
what would be your top tip if you're, that scenario where you turn up to a networking event, you're by yourself, you walk into the room and you can't see anyone you know? What's your top tip for walking in and not feeling like an imposter or shying away to the corner of the room?
Take a big breath. One. I've certainly been there. I'll walk up to somebody, say hello, and so I ask them, what do you do? What's your business? Why did you start it? Because guess what? Everybody loves somebody who's interested in them. And they'll generally will head that way, start that conversation, right? Yeah. Or walk up to them, as people have said to me, wow, great orange shoes or great orange jacket, starts a conversation. So comment on something they're wearing that captures your attention.
Awesome.
Can be a good one.
Thanks, Joanne. That's a great way to finish
My pleasure.
our session today. Thank you. It's, there's a lot that we can unpack. There's a lot that we could do. There's definitely about 3 other sessions that we can run off that, and we can think about that for our Wisdom Well program moving forward. But yeah, look, really great to hear those suggestions and how we can put ourselves out there, consider the things that are holding us back and address those particular challenges. Annette, thank you for sharing. Cassandra, thank you for sharing your insights today. If you haven't already, you've got the chat there. You can download the workbook and review the material that Joanne has provided in that, including how to get in touch with Joanne if you want to have a chat or get some further guidance. Beck's put up the link for next month's Wisdom Well, and the topic being the resilience blueprint that Joanne talked about. Please dive in and book in for that. Earlier in the chat, I also put in tomorrow's winter warmer, which is just our very casual networking session for all WNA members. An opportunity over lunchtime just to catch up, share your wins, your challenges, and even ask for some help and support if you'd like to. We've had some fantastic discussions emerge from those.
Good.
And yes, for those who aren't so keen or a little bit shy in terms of coming to in-person events and networking, this is a great way to ease into that. We are still able to create a tremendously warm and supportive environment through the virtual networking platform. So come along every Friday, have a chat with me, have a chat with all of those WNA members who are on board, and look forward to seeing you then. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks, everyone. Good to see you. Toodaloo.
Bye for now.
See ya.